everyone, I'm Evan Asher and welcome to my interview on Gaming USA. We have a very special guest today. Please welcome Kevin Foster.
Hello everybody.
Man, Kevin, seriously, it is such an honor to have you actually do an interview with me on my YouTube channel. Like, I have been just hearing so much about you and hearing that you played the role as Freddy Fazbear in my top favorite movie just made my heart explode with excitement.
Oh, thank you. It's kind of been the best part of the whole thing is, when you make a movie, you have no idea what the end product is going to look like. And the fact that pretty much every fan I've talked to is just over the moon with how much they love the movie. So I'm pretty lucky that it worked out that way because, I only have a certain amount of control over one little thing. So I just feel really lucky that the movie was as good as it was and received as well as it was. I mean, the fans were so dedicated. People go to the theater. I heard of people going to the theater the first 5 nights it was open to see it, all 5 nights.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, for me, I actually went on the first night the movie came out too. I had actually a private screening.
Oh, were you in St. Charles?
Yes, I was. I was in the Charlestown Theater.
Charlestown Mall. Okay, yeah, I've seen some movies there. I don't know if your dad told you, but I'm from Carroll Stream.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. So I was just in St. Charles like a week and a half ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I wish, and your dad was surprised by that too. I was like, I could have done this in person.
Oh my gosh. Small worlds come, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, if you want, I could start moving on to the questions.
Yeah, go for it. You're driving the ship.
All right. I was gonna say, first of all, Freddy Fazbear is my favorite character in Five Nights at Freddy's, and he always will be. Since day one, he's always been my favorite. Like, I consider him as #1.
Awesome.
So for the first question, what was the audition process like for you in film production?
Yeah, you're gonna love this. I was sitting right here in this chair in my office, and my buddy Andy Dillon, who's the stunt coordinator, calls me up. It was last December, it was exactly a year ago, and he goes, "Hey, I got this movie, Five Nights at Freddy's. It's a creature thing. There's like a bunch of creature suits. It's like a video game or something. Do you know it?" And I yelled out to my son Braden. I go, "Hey, Braden, you know Five Nights at Freddy's?" He's like, "Yeah." I go, "Do you play it?" He said, "No, but my friend Gage does." I was like, "Okay." And so I got back on the phone. I was like, "Yeah, we know it," because I had heard of it. And he goes, "Okay, so we start in January." I was like, "Cool." That was it.
Wow.
But he said I had to send my sizes in because you got to make sure you fit the costume and everything. And then I went in for a fitting. They had to make one little adjustment to the shoulders, and that was it. So there really wasn't an audition process. I would say my audition was over the last 24 years doing different creature suit work.
Oh, okay. Like when they started doing the production?
I don't, production started, we started shooting the beginning of February of this year.
Okay.
But they had been prepping it and developing it for a long time, ever since, like Henson's Creature Shop had to build these costumes from scratch. So as far as I know, they were on it for many months before we came on.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was, as far as production goes, it was a pretty short process. We rehearsed for 4 weeks 2 weeks in January, 2 weeks in February, and then the beginning of March, we started shooting the restaurant stuff, and we did that for 4 weeks, and then we were done. So the whole shoot was 9 weeks.
9 whole weeks. Wow.
Yeah.
I actually didn't expect it to be 9 weeks. I thought it was actually longer than that.
Oh yeah, 9 weeks is pretty quick, but that's how you keep the budget down, I guess, is, whittle down the number of days you need to shoot.
Wow. I've directed my own movies before too. Not like movies that are worldwide, just like from my YouTube channel. But I've had experience in directing movies, so I could see where you're coming from on like how long it takes to do the production and how long it takes to put all the scenes together and how many weeks it takes.
Yeah. One other thing that helped, it helped the production a lot that almost half the movie was shot in the restaurant, which was on a soundstage in New Orleans. So, the fact that it's contained in one location for much of the movie is a huge plus for keeping costs down.
That's awesome. I knew, I had a feeling that the restaurant took place there in New Orleans. I had the feeling. At first, people were saying, "Oh, it's in Utah. No, it's in other states. No." But no, that's awesome. That's in New Orleans.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors flying around the internet that were not true. But did you happen to see when they built the exterior of the restaurant? It was just a few blocks from, maybe a mile from the interior, from the studio, and people are like driving by with long lenses on their cameras trying to get pictures of the restaurant and putting them online. Somebody even did a Google it was a Google review of the pizza at the restaurant.
Oh my gosh.
That didn't exist.
Wow. I mean, I know they built it inside of an old Home Depot because I've heard that's what that place was originally.
Right. It was actually a Lowe's. Home Depot's actually like
Lowe's.
right across the street. Yeah. But it was a shut down Lowe's, and they built 4 stages, walled off the 4 stages, and we had our rehearsal space in there, and we had one of the stages, they built the entire restaurant.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, seriously, like thinking like they can like come up with an idea like that is just like you could put anything that comes to mind in your imagination. I mean, that's what Emma, I'm sure was doing, and like Scott, because like that was originally from his game. So I think it all came from the mind and using your imagination.
Yeah, and Scott was really like he was there the whole time we were shooting the restaurant stuff, and he was really hands-on, but like in a good way. He wasn't overbearing with it, but he was there to make sure the whole thing stayed focused and keeping what the fans want in mind. That was his number one concern the whole time.
That's very important to like be concerned about.
And he even invited, I don't know, you've probably seen the YouTube videos from Daco and Raz, Baz, 8-Bit Ryan.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I saw that Daco actually got a chance to hug Freddy, which that was awesome. And I honestly, when I was saying to myself, I was like, God, I wish that was me, because like my dream would be to actually meet these characters in real life and actually like make friends with them. That's like my goal. That's like what I want to do.
Yeah, that was fun because they, that was the first time we met those guys. So they had never met us in person. They all came in with their cameras, and we decided right before, we're going to stay in character. We're going to be animatronic the whole time. We're not going to speak. And then we started moving, and every single time we moved, they would lose it. They were like just so impressed by the costumes and the fact that, like, how long have those guys been playing the games? Forever, right?
Yeah.
And now they're standing there in front of the characters.
It's like real life. I'm really seeing these characters in reality.
And I had that kind of reaction too when I first went in for the fitting, because the costumes looked so amazing.
They do.
It was like somebody just yanked them right out of the games and magically made them come to life. They were beautiful costumes.
I mean, yeah, I know that the heads were remote control.
Yeah, so we would move our heads. So we would control the whole, giant, direction of where the head is looking. The mouth, eyes, eyebrows, and ears were all controlled remotely by the puppeteers from Henson's.
Okay, that's what I thought, because I was watching some behind-the-scenes footage, and I was trying to capture all the little details.
Yeah, so it got hot in there with all those servos moving.
Oh, I bet it did. Like, did you guys have some coolers inside? Because I know you guys were wearing some straps as like layers underneath.
Yeah, those straps, it was basically made from a backpack. They would take apart a backpack, and I don't know if there's anything online that you can see it, but all the electronics and the battery and everything were on our back. So that's what those straps were for. And then there was these little plugs, and they had rods that were connected to the head. Plug the rods into the holes, and that would help stabilize the head.
Oh.
Yeah, and so then they would plug the head into our backpack to power everything, and for all the, the circuit boards to be able to control the servos in the face.
That's actually very cool. So it's basically like, it's like sensors.
Yeah. And I mean, God, they even, they could control the direction of the eyes, the color of the light in the eyes.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. The red eyes.
A lot of people lost their minds when that poster came out and the eyes were red. They're like, how can you change the color of their eyes? I'm like, guys, slow your roll. They're not always red.
Yeah, come on, like chill, man. Like even my friend, like he was like, Okay, why are their eyes red? Because in their regular games, their eyes aren't really red.
Mm-hmm.
But like I even have them on my wallpaper as well.
Oh, nice.
So I always like observe. I'm like, wow, they look so cool.
I think so too. When I saw the red eyes, I was like, that looks wicked. Because we didn't get to see much at all of what the faces were doing because we were inside the heads the whole time. So we didn't really get to see the puppeteers' performances until we went to see the movie on October 26th.
Oh, okay. Did you only like see through the mouth?
Yes, we saw through the mouth. So Chica, my friend Jess Weiss, she played Chica, and the beak is really narrow, so she didn't have any peripheral vision. Freddy's mouth is really wide, luckily, so I could see left and right pretty good and see what was around me. But when the mouth was completely closed, you were blind.
Oh.
There was a scene where I had to walk about 10 feet and then hit a mark, and I missed the mark because I couldn't literally see nothing. So I said, hey, ask Artie. Artie Esposito is the one who was puppeteering Freddy's head. So I said, hey, can you guys ask Artie to crack the mouth open just a little bit? So he cracked it like a centimeter, and that was just enough to where I could tell where the furniture was.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what scene was that where you couldn't really see out of the mouth? Like, was it a certain scene in the movie?
I remember it was in the dining room. So it was either fort building, the scene where we meet Mike, or I don't think it was the yellow rabbit scene. So it was one of those two scenes, but it all kind of bleeds together because especially we were like in the same room for the whole 4 weeks. I was anyway. So yeah, the scenes kind of blend together, and I even forget things like, okay, I did this thing, but was that in rehearsal or did we actually shoot that?
Yeah.
And I don't even remember.
Yeah, it's sometimes like when I'm rehearsing with like my friends, like and we talk about videos that we did a long time ago, we're like, wait, did I remember doing that scene? Like you just have to have clarification.
Yeah, exactly. I even forget entire shows that I've worked on. Like, if it's 15, 20 years ago, I'll see it on my resume and go, oh my God, I forgot that show ever existed.
Wow, but yeah, hearing all of this information from you, like, really takes me even more deep into the movie, and it gives me more clues and secrets. Even though I've seen the movie already, I know everything about it. But when I told my dad I'm making this, I was like, don't watch this until you've seen the movie, because my dad is like, I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't want to spoil it for him.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah.
You gotta, I don't know when he said it might be a while before you guys get together to see it too, huh?
Yeah, he said hopefully around winter break is when he'll see it with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just a couple weeks.
Yeah, so that's nothing.
Are you coming out here or is he going out there?
So I'm actually, he's gonna come out here first, and he's gonna stay here for a week. And during that week, he's gonna watch the movie with me. So
awesome.
That's what he's gonna do. And then after that, he's gonna take me to California to have a Christmas dinner with my family, my dad's side of the family.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, take him to the theater. Don't let him watch it on Peacock the first time.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever want to even do that. But I mean, I hope it's still in theaters by that time. How long is it still going to be in theaters for?
God, in my mind just now, it was always going to be in theaters. But that's not the case. It's probably going to be out pretty soon.
Yeah, because I know it's already streaming on different services now. I always want to be in theaters, though. It's like, I never want to stop being in theaters because I want to keep watching it in theaters.
Yeah. Well, you know what, though? I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, look, it was available for free the same day, and it still did 80 million opening weekend in the box office. So that says something about how much the fans wanted to see it in the movie theater. So I wouldn't be surprised when the second movie rolls around if they did like limited releases in theaters to get ready for the second movie.
Yeah, I mean, they really gotta make a sequel. I mean, do you think they're gonna make a sequel? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think they're gonna make a sequel?
It's already being worked on. The big question is, will I be working on it? That we don't know yet.
Yeah, because I actually was thinking, like, would you play the role of Freddy as well in the sequel?
I hope so. I would love to be back. I would love to. So I just keep my fingers crossed and wait for the phone to ring.
And you hear from phone guys like, hello, I want you to come back and do another Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
How great would that be if Scott did the phone guy voice and called up and did that?
Five Nights at Freddy's Movie with us. Also, to those of you watching this, please subscribe to Gaming USA.
Oh my gosh.
I would lose it.
I mean, in Daco's interview, he actually did that, because I watched his interview he did with Scott Calton.
I just recently saw that.
Yeah.
Wow. Which was great. I'm glad he did that, because after hearing Phone Guy voice and talking to Scott in person, it didn't fit with me because it's a different voice. That's like not his natural voice.
Yeah.
And so it like wasn't making sense to me. So actually seeing him do it helped a lot.
Yeah, basically helped me a lot too. I was also going to ask you this. What was it like, though, to bring Freddy Fazbear to life?
Well, luckily, when I got the job, I didn't know how huge this whole world was. I didn't know how much the fans loved these characters. So to me, I was just happy to have a job. I was like, yeah, okay, I know how to do this. Animatronic, it's a little different than the organic creatures that I've done in the past.
Yeah.
So, but that's what rehearsal's for. We'll figure it out. So slowly through the rehearsal and shooting process I started realizing how big it actually was. And probably somewhere in rehearsals realized that people, like millions of people care how this thing looks moving.
Yeah.
So it became a big responsibility, but it put a little pressure on, but I kind of like that. It's like it bumps up the stakes a bit, and it makes your job important. And it was good. And like I was telling you earlier, is Scott was kind of nervous about how the creatures were going to move, because the last thing he wanted was for them to look like people in costumes. And so we had heard that through, Emma and Andy, the stunt coordinator, that they cannot look like people in costumes. So that's what we were focusing on in the rehearsal period. It was simply move the most robotic way possible. And then when I met Scott, we were shooting the Golden Freddy and Piper outside the restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that thing?
Yes.
So Scott was kind of standing off by himself, kind of watching and thinking. He looked like he was pretty deep in thought. And I went up and asked, I just met him like an hour before, and I went up and asked him if he was going to be there when we were shooting the restaurant stuff. And he said, yeah, I want to be there as much as possible. I said, okay. And then he was quiet for a second, and he goes, I've been so worried about this. And I said, what, about the movement? And he said, yeah. And I said, and then so in our first conversation, I told him a couple other projects that I had done, creature work, and he's familiar with them, and he liked those movies. So I started referencing those and showing him what we had been working on in rehearsals, and showing him the things that didn't work, the things that we tried that weren't quite right. And we all really leaned on each other to give opinions, because we couldn't see what we were doing, so we had to rely on each other to tell us how everything looked. So then we landed on the movement that our philosophy for the whole thing, and I showed it to him, contrasted it to some of the organic creatures that I've done, and then he was again quiet for a few seconds, and then he goes, I feel a lot better now. So he was worried, because it's like, you never, like I said, you never know how the movie's going to turn out. Likewise, he doesn't know how performers that he's never met are going to do it. So it's very fortunate that we had a 4-week rehearsal period to figure that stuff out. And now going into the second movie, if we are in the costumes again, we can start where we left off and improve from there and try and come up with new things that look good and robotic.
Wow. All of you guys got the rights for it because Jason Blood was trying to get the rights to it from him, and that all made it all become a reality. And thanks to you guys for making this perfect for Scott, it made him so happy.
Yeah, we were trying to please Scott, Emma, and Andy, and it's like, that's all that matters. Make it look good for them, and everything will be fine from us. Like, we've done our job. And everybody seemed happy, so we're good. Then, then we just wait 6 months to see the movie.
That's awesome. I was going to share with you, too, that my favorite scene would have to be from the movie is when all of the animatronics found out the truth about how William Afton was actually the person that murdered the children.
Yeah.
And they were all surrounding him and circling him, and he was just getting what he deserved. It really gave me the chills of happiness.
That's cool. And the facial performances from the puppeteers were awesome in that scene.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, that was cool. A lot of people say the bite was their favorite. A lot of people say the fort building was their favorite. I didn't expect that, but a lot of people love the fort building scene.
The fort building scene was actually another one of my favorite scenes, as well as the bite scene as well. I love that death scene. If I had to pick my favorite death scene in the movie, bite in half scene would be my favorite.
I never do this. When I watch a movie, I'm quiet. I don't talk. I don't cheer. When that bite happened, I knew it was coming too. But the lead up was so slow and methodical and building tension, and then when the bite happened, it happened so quick that I actually yelled and clapped in the middle of the theater right after that. I loved it.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, I bet you feel like proud on the inside too, because you're Freddy, you know, that's basically you.
Yes, but for a different reason. So we did previs, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with previs, when usually the stunt team gets together, works out the action scenes, and shoots them and cuts them together to show the director, go, hey, this is how we would do it. I had a heavy hand in prevising that scene, even though I wasn't in the costume for that scene. Because where are you going to fit an arm?
That's actually true.
Right?
Yeah.
If I'm wearing the head, you can't fit an arm anywhere. So, and there was question. That's one of the things we work out in rehearsal is like, is this going to be me? Is it going to be puppet on a stand? And especially because, you know, a lot of it was, if the creatures aren't moving, it's a puppet on a stand. If they're moving around, it's us. And that's the general rule. People tend to wonder a lot, oh, what was you? What was the animatronics? And a lot of times there was a mix. There's scenes where it's like, oh, that shot's us. That shot's animatronic. That shot's us. Mm-hmm. And it goes back and forth. And I thought it was edited really well to where it's very hard to tell what's what.
That's what makes it good though, because then like people like can't tell the difference. It just makes it feel the same for the viewers watching, mm-hmm. You know? Yeah. Like that's what I love too about like the movie, because it makes me feel like those things actually are real and they're actually alive, and that what makes me happy. Yeah. Like when I watch this movie, I feel like I'm actually getting sucked into the film.
Yeah. You know, the first movie, it was really fun being inside the costume and actually getting to have that responsibility of moving Freddy Fazbear. But by the end of the movie, we had done everything so many times. Now, I really hope I work on the second movie because I want to know what else there is. Like, I want to do different stuff in the costume from what we did in the first movie. And that'll require another rehearsal process and a learning process. And,
right.
You know, start out trying things that don't work and hopefully land on things that do work. Kind of excited about that.
Honestly, I would be too. I would actually really, really be excited. I was also going to ask you this too. So, like, I know you were talking to me about that you were talking to Scott and about, like, how he was hoping the animatronics would actually look realistic for the film. I was gonna ask you, did you get to meet Scott Colton? Like what you were telling me, it seemed like you did. And like, if so, like, what was he like?
He was really, really nice, incredibly mild-mannered. And it would be very easy in his position to be too heavy-handed with his input on the specific things that were happening in scenes. He could very well, overstep, but he didn't. I think he did it the perfect amount just to accomplish the goal of having these things look like real animatronics and knowing what the fans, he's so in tune with what the fans want in general about his games and this movie that he really kept everything focused on that. And I think that transferred to Emma too. I got that same vibe from her. Like that situation could go bad very easily, and it didn't. And that's a testament to both Emma and Scott and Bea, the producer too. Really, that it all gelled really well, and it never felt like there was more than one chef, even though both Emma and Scott had a lot of input to how things were going. And I guess that just means they worked really well together.
Well, yeah, they really did make a great team. I was actually thinking maybe possibly if I could. I was planning on hopefully maybe to actually cast in the sequel because I've had some experience in acting.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about taking more acting classes and hopefully maybe if if it's possible, I could actually get to play a role in the sequel. With like, how amazing would that be?
Oh my God, that would be that's the fan's dream, isn't it?
Yes, like fans' dream for Five Nights at Freddy's, for the whole franchise as it's been going. Because I played Five Nights at Freddy's since the day it came out, and when people started talking about it, back in 2014, when people were all into indie horror games, I was just so into Five Nights at Freddy's, and I was like, I have it all over my room. Like, if you ever see my room's covered head to toe of Five Nights at Freddy's merch.
Well, and that's, I've met a lot of fans like you that in your age range too, maybe even down to like 17 to 22, 23. Like you said, you played it the day you came out. So fans in that age range they've been waiting for this thing for 8 years.
Yeah.
And like, I'm impressed that y'all haven't lost your minds. Like, waiting that long for a movie to come out. And you guys waited so long that I'm just glad that the movie turned out as good as it did, so that you guys aren't disappointed, because that would really stink if you wait that long for a movie and then it's like, oh, that was junk.
Well, regardless, if it's a movie if it's a movie from my childhood that I grew up with, because I don't really judge movies by like good or bad, not like those critics. I'm just like a guy who's just like, I want to see this movie. I just want to see it. I just want to watch it. And like, then when I watch it, I was just like, it's just my top favorite movie. It's going to be my favorite movie forever and always will be. So this movie really was a really big dream come true for me. Without this movie, I honestly don't know what my favorite movie would be. So it was such a great movie.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're as pleased with it as you are.
I really am. Yeah. If you ever get a chance to see Scott again, tell him my friend Evan said hi.
Okay, I will.
Do you get people come up to you to get autographs? Because you're carrying the responsibility of Freddy Fazbear around, like a very, very important role.
Well, I go to conventions and Halloween stores or toy stores, stuff like that are specifically set up so people can get autographs. But I have not been recognized on the street yet as Freddy, because my face is covered most of the time. But at my kids' school, I've had a bunch of kids come up and ask for autographs because they know.
Oh, of course. But that's awesome. Just to think of yourself acting as an animatronic bear, a main character, and it feels good because I do this thing with my friends where we like to name people. It's pretty interesting. It's we say I'm Freddy, and I name my friend as Bonnie and Chica, and
Okay.
we like to use our imagination. So it's fun. It's fun that you get to actually play as the character. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's surreal. I don't know if I've really let that sink in too much to me, and I don't know if it would be healthy to let it sink in too much. I don't know. I try and stay focused on doing a good job. And, when fans are excited to meet me or Jade or Jess because we played the characters, I just try and, talk like I'm talking to you,
Yeah.
try and give them insight to maybe stuff they weren't able to see in the movie and just make it fun. But, there was one funny thing that my whole family apparently saw before I did, but I just noticed something I don't know if it was on Instagram, but we were doing a panel discussion recently at a convention, and somebody captioned it, it said, "Other kids, my dad works for Microsoft," and then it said, "Kevin's son, my dad is Freddy Fazbear." And I'm like I laughed but I'm I'm trying not to let it sink too deep in.
Well, you should. It's special. It's just something that feels special, but it's not something you should let sink in. You should always just
Right.
be yourself. Just be proud. You could just be proud of what you did.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. And I am proud of it, but I'm really proud of the work we did, and I'm really happy that we were able to please the people that were the priority.
Yeah.
The people who have so much invested in making this movie, and the fans who have, frankly, half their lives a lot of times invested in this movie. And I've never seen, as far as the marketing of the movie, Scott is the one that invited Daco, Raz, Baz, and Ryan to set to hang out for a week, right? And then the fact that the producers were like, embrace that. Blumhouse embraced that. The whole social media world is driving this thing, along with the fans, and everybody involved embraced what was happening with that and let that kind of drive the whole marketing of the movie.
Yeah, but I'm one of them.
It's really impressive to see that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was really impressive that everybody embraced that process so much, and that process was successful in the end.
I'm so happy it was. I knew it would be. I was pulling for you guys. I knew all of you guys would all be successful. I even put a little message on my Instagram too, just sharing like how happy I was to see the movie and how much work it looked like you guys put into it. And I was saying thank you to Scott and to the whole team and Jason Blum. So yeah, it was really special.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being part of the support and marketing system for this thing, because it's turning out well for everybody.
I'm glad. I mean, I've supported Five Nights at Freddy's always. I've had a friend who's loved Five Nights at Freddy's, but she's kind of like, you know, she's moved on to other games. She still likes it though. She's seen the movie, but like I've always like never left Five Nights at Freddy's. I always keep Five Nights at Freddy's in a special place in here. Nice.
Well, God, people ask me, is there going to be a second movie? Is there going to be a trilogy? I hope they make 10 of them. I mean, really, there's no reason not to. People are loving it. The fans want it. I hope they just keep making them.
Yeah, they got to. It's got to bring more of the FNAF community back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Seriously, this is just like an honor though. Seriously, like getting to talk to you and because again, I've just been waiting for this moment to come. Like I was like excited. Like I was like, oh my gosh, really? Like does he really want to take his time to talk to me? Because I know you're like very busy. Because you know you've been in a lot of other movies too. I know you were in Iron Man. You were in Jurassic World. You know you play a lot of great roles. But like since like you know you also played Freddy, like which was a really great role and very important and in my favorite movie, that made it very, very special for me.
Thank you. I mean, I feel fortunate to be a part of all of those movies. And you know, it's December now. I shut the hard work down in December and get ready for Christmas, and that's what I'm doing now. But
that's good.
No, I love doing this. I love talking to fans. I love talking to fans like you who know a lot about the whole FNAF world and have been on it for a long time. This is fun for me.
I know it is, because it's fun. I get to talk to someone that's actually acted in the movie, and like I get to share my thoughts with you, and you get to share your thoughts with me, and you know it's great. Thank you, really. I
yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate you doing this and actually giving me a platform, because like I said, my face is normally covered, so when I get to just be me and talk to people in a kind of public setting, I enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad, you know, I always want to make sure everybody's like happy and everybody's like having a good time and making new friends with people. It's amazing. I love it. I was going to ask you this though.
Okay.
What would be like something Freddy Fazbear would say to me, like as like a person that likes him a lot?
Oh boy. Well, it's funny because people say, oh, do a line of Freddy, and the only line Freddy has is "hor, right?
Oh my god, that one. Yeah, that's like a very big meme. The memes back in the day though were just like with Markiplier and like him like with playing all the FNAF games. Like those were like the golden age memes.
Yeah. I don't, God, what would he say? I don't know. I think I get more of a vibe, like a feeling about Freddy rather than lines he would say. I think he'd be a bear of few words, but I think a thing that sums him up is the scene where Mike comes into the restaurant and we're all tickling Abby.
Oh, yes.
And he sees Mike and he immediately flips a switch and beelines for Mike because he's protective of Abby. So I think Freddy is, I always say he's the cuddliest one, but he's also the most protective one.
Well, yeah, he's like a leader. He has to take care of his family. Okay,
what he would say is, "You're safe with me." That's what Freddy would say.
Yeah,
he was ready to tear Mike apart.
Yeah, I mean, he was. Yeah, like I would feel super safe with Freddy. Like even with all his other friends, if they were ever real and they ever existed, I would love to meet them.
Maybe not Cupcake.
Yeah, maybe not Cupcake.
Maybe not Carl.
Yeah, no, maybe not Carl. Like, actually, like, if you noticed, like, because I'm sure, like, Carl was actually the name of one of the people that broke into the pizzeria, and
We did notice
Carl killed basically Carl.
Carl. Yes. Actually, that didn't get pointed out to me until the second viewing of the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Here's a little inside scoop. So the fort building scene you said was one of your favorite scenes.
Yeah,
So
it was just so cute.
When we saw the movie, it was me and my family, and then Jade Kindermartin, who played Bonnie, his whole family. We were all together in Orlando.
Oh, that's sweet.
And so Jade and I were sitting next to each other watching the movie. And one thing we were disappointed they cut out was in the fort building. You remember when Bonnie falls over?
Yeah, and he falls on the ground, and Abby's like, "Are you okay?" And then he sticks up his thumb, yeah.
Exactly. He was standing on my back.
He was?
In that scene. He wasn't on a chair. He was standing on my back. I was on my hands and knees on the ground in the Freddy costume. And he was on my back.
Oh.
And I don't know why, maybe just for pacing or whatever, they didn't show that in the movie.
So it was when Bonnie was standing up and he was about to fall, or was it when he was like going like this? Because I know he was on the ground when he was sticking up his thumb.
Yeah, not when the thumb went up. It was when he was standing up. And the idea was they set the last table on top of the fort, and then they celebrate and throw their arms up in the air, and it makes him lose his balance and fall over. But what you never saw was that whole section of fort building. I was on the ground, he was standing up.
Wow. I'm sure he landed on something like soft, of course.
Yeah, he had a stunt pad, like an 8-inch foam pad. Still not pleasant though, because the head was solid, so it gives you a pretty good jostle even when you hit a pad. So that, I know that wasn't fun for him. Wasn't fun for me either, because the heads were 17 pounds. 17 pounds it's hefty when you're standing upright.
Right.
But the weight is straight down on you.
Yeah.
When you're on your hands and knees, your neck muscles are working the whole time to hold that up. And I only lasted about 2 minutes in that position, because your muscles get worn out faster than that. So
was that scene like intentionally like on purpose for the right reason kind of a deal?
Which part?
The part when Bonnie was falling down.
Yeah, that was the gag, and it was originally in the script. We were all supposed to be this jumbled mess on the ground, like we all toppled over together. But logistically, it just didn't work to have us all, the suits were so big, it just wasn't going to work making us look like a jumbled mess. And how do we fall over if I'm on my hands and knees?
Yeah.
I can only just topple over a little bit. So it just didn't work. So they changed it really to just Bonnie falling. But we were all supposed to we rehearsed it in previs and everything. We all did thumbs up at the same time.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Before we end this interview, I actually want to ask you if you could do me a quick favor.
Okay.
Can you say, "Hey everybody, this is Kevin Foster and I'm telling you to subscribe to Gaming USA," because Gaming USA is the name of my YouTube channel that I do with my friends.
Oh,
So
awesome.
it's almost 10 years old too, so our anniversary is coming up.
Oh, congrats. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. I'm Kevin Foster. I played Freddy Fazbear in Five Nights at Freddy's, and I want you to subscribe to Gaming USA.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
No problem.
Seriously, it was such an honor, seriously, again, talking to you, asking you these amazing questions, and I hope, one of these days we could catch up, maybe grab something to eat, just chit-chat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great to meet you in person eventually.
Yeah, I know. Same to you, my friend. I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you for giving me this information, and thank you for letting me take this opportunity to talk to you and help me out and give each other information. I really appreciate you, man. All luck to you.
No problem. Thank you for creating this platform too. I had a blast talking to you, and we'll chat again soon.
All right. Peace out, my man.
Peace. Bye.
Bye. Oh my gosh, guys. That was so incredible. I mean, seriously, what are the chances to actually get to talk to Kevin Foster, the actual actor of Freddy Fazbear? My gosh, my mind is just blown away right now. Well, as always, guys, stay tuned for more Gaming USA videos and hopefully some more interviews. And I will always see you in the next video. And always remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below for more amazing content. What's that noise? The drawings always work.